Hey guys, David Pingree out here at Glen Helen today testing our 2019 Husqvarna 450. And we've already done the introduction on this bike. Today we're here doing Dialed In, and we've been working all day with Anthony here at Husky, starting from their base settings, kind of where we liked and where we landed at the intro, and really trying to get this thing tuned in and set up. So I'm just going to jump into it here. Started with the maps on these. The first one, there's map 1, map 2, and then they each have traction control. Just to recap that. Map 1, a little more aggressive on the bottom, a little harder hitting, flattens off a little bit more. Map 2, a little rolls on a little easier, tends to rev a little further out. I like map 2. I would suggest, unless you're riding Supercross or you are a big boy, go to map 2 and put the traction control on. That's my recommendation. There's still plenty of torque, plenty of roll on out of turns, but it just gives you a more even distribution of power as you roll through the RPMs. It revs to the moon, and then the traction control just gives you a little bit of, electronic help. As soon as that thing starts to get loose and step out and spin, it sort of corrects it and corrects some of your mistakes. So map 2 with traction control on, I don't think I'd really ever come out of that unless I was at maybe a deep sand race or something. I might go back to 1 and try it. I think that's gold. I also recommend going to the short throw cam on the throttle tube. Your bike will come with a gray one stock and also a black cam. That's a shorter throw, shorter pull. There's no reason not to go to that. You actually have less rotation to get to full throttle, which for me helped a lot with arm pump because I wasn't just having to lock my wrist all the way down. It's just less movement. I found it to be just easier to modulate power, easier to ride, not re-gripping as much. Much better all the way around, no complaints about it. So check that out. As far as ergonomics go, again, I find the shift lever to be a little farther out. If you've got a shorter foot, you might look at something aftermarket to just bring it back a little bit. Don't notice it with the brake, just notice it with the shifter, so for whatever that's worth. Getting into the suspension, I'll go over some of the stock settings and then where we landed and what Husqvarna recommends. Your standard fork air pressure, they recommend 10.5 bar. He's saying that is kind of where they do recommend starting, but he is finding most people feel like that's a touch soft. So he goes back to what the 18 setting was, which is 10.8 bar. That's where I landed today. To me, that gives you a much more balanced feel. The 10.5 feels nice on the track, but you end up being stink bug, and to get that correction and bring the back down, you end up with either massive sag numbers or with your high-speed compression way out. And it just throws it out of balance. I recommend, unless you're a really light guy, I'm 170, and I like 10.8 bar, I would recommend going up to that. You may even be higher if you're a 185, 200 pounder. So keep that in mind. It does come a little soft as far as what they recommend. Rebound 15 clicks out is what they recommend, so all the way in 15 clicks out. We didn't change that. Compression 15 clicks out is standard, and we went 16 clicks out. And I had been kind of going back and forth with that as we changed air pressures. Again, 1 click out, just for me to get a little bit better feel on the little chop and chatter. That's a great point for me. On the shock, 105 is their sag recommendation. Now, depending on what you like, you may like a little more than that, a little less, but 105 is what they recommend for everybody. So try starting there, and if you can't get there through some of these other little tricks we have, you can add a little bit, but they want you to try to stay close to that. I think it's what they recommend as well. So my low speed compression comes at 15 clicks out. We went to 19 clicks out. To me, again, I just wanted to get a little bit more compliance on the sharp, choppy little bumps we had today at Glen Helen, and that got me there. High speed comes at 2 turns out. I went to 2 1/4, and for me that was just a balance issue. By opening up that high speed, you'll get the bike to settle into ruts a little bit better and into turns, and just bring the back of the bike down in general. Also gives you a little bit more of a softer feel, a little more plush, and something I like. So you can play with that again. Go to 2 1/2, or even go into 1 3/4 if you want it a little taller. Play with that high speed adjuster rather than messing with your sag. That's my recommendation. Now, if you're going way out or way in on that, then it's time to maybe make a sag or spring change. And then rebound 15 clicks out. We're at 12 clicks out. So we slowed this down quite a bit. And for me, I had just some instances of it kind of getting busy and popping up on me a little bit and breaking bumps. So just by slowing that rebound down, it settled the back end down, let me come into, as I was coming into sweeping berms and ruts where there was bumps, it just stayed nice and straight and tracked in, so it helped me a lot. Those are my recommendations for suspension. Obviously, those are specifically for me, but I think if you take that general kind of outline of where they recommend and where we landed, you can get yourself pretty close. We did talk about fork height, but where they come here on the second line, they seem to find, as they've done intros and shootouts, pretty much everybody's liking them right where they're at. So if you need to make a fork height change, do it with your air pressure, and then try to find the feel you want with that clicker, and you can get that setting. So that's really all we had. Gearing is good on this thing. Tires are great. This thing is a missile. A couple little tricks. These don't come from Husqvarna, but it's something that we have found on our garage build bikes that works, is you can get rid of the air filter cage, go to a 2-stroke cage, and it removes that screen, which obviously impedes some airflow. It's meant to be a backfire screen so you don't catch your filter on fire. That could happen, so we didn't officially tell you to do that, but if you're looking to get some more horsepower, that's a way to do it. It does breathe better. And if you go in a step further, you can drill some holes in the side of the air box over here on the side panel and get a little bit better flow with that and really let this thing breathe. So again, those aren't Husqvarna's recommendations. I'm just saying we've done it, and we did find that it works well in terms of performance. Do at your own risk, though. Okay, thank you to Husqvarna. This is an awesome motorcycle. If you've got a 450, you know that already. Try some of these. I hope some of these little tips and tricks help you, and enjoy your Husqvarna 450 this year. Thanks for watching.